Hey guys, what's up? MadSeason here, back with another video for you. By popular demand, I got another rare items episode for you. In this video, I'll go over 10 super rare items in the game and also share the story and history behind them. As usual, let's get our disclaimer out of the way. As the title says, this list will include items that are no longer obtainable. Just throwing that out there since some people have a problem with that. The basic criteria I try to keep is that the item had to have been in a player's inventory at one point or another. And another thing is that this list really isn't in a super strict order, but I'll try to save the best for last. First up, we have the original Collector's Edition pets. When the game originally launched back in 2004, you could also buy a special Collector's Edition for I believe $80, just $30 more than the original base game. This came with a bunch of extra stuff, including an art book, some behind the scenes DVDs, and most importantly, a choice between 3 exclusive in-game pets: the Mini Diablo, the Panda Cub, and the Zergling. These days, it's very rare to see anyone with these pets, as most people who got the Collector's Edition way back when quit the game a long time ago. These pets, particularly the Mini Diablo, would do special animations that made them quite unique back then. As for their battling capabilities though, unfortunately they're nothing too special, from what I heard at least. Still though, 3 really cool, really rare pets. They're not tradable, so the only way you can even get them these days is to find a Collector's Edition with an unused code, and I don't even want to tell you how expensive that is. Okay, I lied, here's how expensive it is. Next up, we have the Black and Plague Protodrakes. You can call this episode the Mount Edition because we have a lot of them. These were rewards for getting all of the achievements for the Glory of the Raider achievement back during the Wrath of the Lich King days. You could only get it during the first major tier, which had the Eye of Eternity, the Obsidian Sanctum, and Naxxramas. The 10-man version awarded the Plague Protodrake, and the 25-man version gave the black one. Patch 3.1 introduced the next tier for Wrath, which was Ulduar, and along with it, they removed these mounts as a reward from those achievements. So, pretty rare to see these days. The Plagued one is a little more common, not only due to it being from the 10-man version, but it's also purchasable off of the black market auction house. The Black Protodrake, I believe, isn't sold on the BMAH. Next up, we have a highly sought after transmog piece, and that's Chan's Imperial Robes. It's a unique yellow and teal dress with a very, low neckline. It did have a copy from the Naxxramas 40-man raid, but that was of course removed, so this is the only source of the transmog in the game now. It's extraordinarily rare, only having 4 recorded drops on Wowhead since Cataclysm. Reports say it drops off of random trash in the Blackrock Depths, Strathholm, and other similar level dungeons, so whatever you do, don't vendor it. That's the thing with a lot of these rare transmogs actually. They just look like generic leveling gear, but they have the potential to be really rare and expensive. These robes in particular fetch a price of around 100,000 gold on all US servers due to their rarity. Next, we have Dartel's Rod of Transformation. This is what most people consider to be one of the original silly toys in the game. This was actually a quest item during the vanilla days. You were given this to disguise yourself as a furbolg so you could assassinate another furbolg, but it was usable anywhere, it had a 3-minute duration, and a 1-minute cooldown. So, a lot of people just kept the quest in their log and used this to goof off. It wasn't like how it is now, where virtually every quest item is relegated to a certain questing area. The quest was updated in Cataclysm to give you a peasant version of this rod that only works in Ashenvale. You can also get a toy from the Timbermaw Hold faction that tries to replicate it, but this is also a cheap knockoff because it requires Exalted and it has a 1-hour cooldown. They just don't make them as good as they used to. Next up, we have the Light of Elune. This is probably the most powerful and most useful potion in the game because it makes you immune from all damage and spells for 10 seconds. Now, you may ask what's the drawback? Well, for 1, it's no longer obtainable, and 2, it was an old quest reward in vanilla that was removed when Cataclysm was released and you could only get 1 per character. I'm proud to say that I do still have one on my hunter, and it's been in my bag for about 10 years just waiting for the perfect moment to use it. This is the equivalent of other games where you save all of your mega elixirs and ammo for when you need them, and then you just complete the game with a butter knife or something for no reason whatsoever. The day will come though, so I better hang on to it for just a little while longer. Next, we have a mount that I was debating not putting on here since it's still farmable, but it's such a hardcore farm I thought it was still worth sharing, and that's the Reigns of Poseidus mount. This is a 100% drop mount from a rare mob named Poseidus in the Shimmering Expanse in Vashj'ir. The mob itself has a very long respawn timer. People have reported up to 120 hours between respawns, and it's still camped all of the time. Outside of Vashj'ir, it has a 100% speed like the many other aquatic mounts, so it's nothing special in terms of actual use. Its main value comes from the Seahorse model, and of course its rarity. It isn't soulbound when you loot it, so you can sell it. Currently, it's going for around 1.3 million gold across all US servers, so grab some coffee, quit your job, and wait, I guess. For this next one, I'm gonna bundle a bunch together and just say the old original race specific mounts. Basically, the way the mounts used to work and what determined their speed was their quality and not your riding skill. So, the blue mounts, which were trainable at level 40, gave you a 60% speed increase, and the purple mounts, which you got at level 60, gave you a 100% speed increase. Up until patch 1.4, these purple mounts didn't really look different from the blue ones. They were faster, but they were just palette swaps at the end of the day. Blizzard wanted their looks to match their faster speed, so in 1.4 they released new, updated versions of these mounts that looked more epic. But, along with this, these original mounts were removed entirely. It's very rare to see them these days because back then, it was actually really difficult to get 100% speed mounts. It cost around 1,000 gold total for the mount and the training, including reputation discounts, so the majority of the player base never saw these original mounts. Next, we have the old Robe mounts, the Swift Rizashi Raptor, and the Swift Zillion Tiger. Robe was an old 20-man raid from vanilla, and these dropped from the Tiger and Raptor bosses respectively. They were quite rare even back in the day, having around a 1% drop rate from each boss. The ability to obtain them was removed when Robe was re-released as a 5-man dungeon during the Cataclysm expansion. I remember the special thing about these mounts was the fact that they were one of the first ones that you could obtain cross-faction. And what I mean by that is that the Tiger mount is a reskin of the Night Elf Epic mounts, and the Raptor mount is a reskin of the Trolls. So, if you were alliance with the Raptor or a horde with the Tiger, it was a big thing back then. If you brought it out in a faction city, it would turn heads just due to the fact that people haven't seen those models before. Remember, back then, we didn't share every faction city like we have been recently, so seeing a Raptor as alliance or a Tiger as a horde was pretty odd. You can very rarely find these on the black market auction house, but from what I hear, they cap out at 9.99 million pretty quickly since they're such big collector's items. Personally, I prefer the Tiger mount because I think over time there's been a lot of Raptor mounts released and it's kind of hard to tell the Robe one from all of the others. The Zillion Tiger has the edge of having a skin that really stands out, I think. Next, we have a Blizzcon item, and that's the Murloc costume. Similar to Murky from the previous video, this was a reward for attending the annual Blizzcon convention. Specifically, you got this from Blizzcon 2007, and when you use it, you put on a Murloc costume and you get a little Blizzcon flag. You can use it as much as you like with no cooldown, but unfortunately, it disappears when you do anything combat related, such as attack or cast a spell. So, you can't murder people in this suit, which is a bummer. Although less rare than Murky, I think, it's still a pretty valuable collector's item. Currently, it's running for around 500 bucks on eBay, which is pretty nuts, I think. And lastly, we have the Big Blizzard Bear. Yet another BlizzCon item here, and this one is an actual mount. You got this from BlizzCon 2008 1 year later, and it was one of the first bear mounts in the game, the Amani Warbear being the only other one I can recall that predated it. It comes equipped with some stylish goggles, and even a baby Murloc holding onto a BlizzCon flag on front of the saddle. The price range, if you're curious, seems to be around the $1,000 range. That's one expensive polar bear. Also, while searching for it, I found this awesome Bill Cosby sweater of a polar bear puking while wearing a Bill Cosby sweater. Now that's fashion right there. But that's about it for this episode of Rare WoW Items. As always, if you think I missed out on something, go ahead and let me know because I do take suggestions. Anyways, as usual, I hope you found the video entertaining, like it if you liked it, and thanks for watching. Peace.